excited to have one of our new board members and an amazing scientist joining us to answer a few really pressing questions about evolution. So, Prosanta Chakrabarty from the Louisiana State University, if you want to say hello.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Prosanta is the George H. Lowry Professor in the Department of Biological Sciences. He's also the curator of fish at the Museum of Natural Science there at LSU. Among myriad other things that he's engaged in, he's a TED Senior Fellow, an elected Fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, a Fulbright Distinguished Chair, and a National Geographic Certified Educator. He's also the author of a recently popular book, Explaining Life Through Evolution, and most importantly, is an amazing friend and, as I said, a newly minted member of our board of directors. So thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Great. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful. So your TED Talk is incredibly popular. So 4 billion years of evolution in 6 minutes. And you started off by saying, if we evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Well, because we're not monkeys. We're fish. So why do you begin with that?
Well, it's funny because when I started thinking about the talk, I knew I wanted to talk about evolution and some misconceptions. And I had heard Cat Williams, the comedian, and Stephen Baldwin, Alec Baldwin's brother, both say if if evolution is true, why are there still monkeys? And I thought, huh, that's wrong. So the misconception that everything is leading to evolution into humans or becoming humans, starting with the last step. And then I was like, what if I switch it up and try to explain to everybody why we're all fish? Because all vertebrates are fishes. And so that's what I thought. It would be clever and maybe catch people off guard, because I think people have heard, why are there still monkeys line before? And I thought, it'd be funny to continue that and like, hey, we're not even monkeys, we're fish.
I like that even better. I'm going to have to steal that moving forward because I know we all hear that trope and that misconception so frequently. If evolution is real, why are there still monkeys? So
Mhm.
you bring up that misconception. What are some of the other kind of sticky misconceptions you've had that either with the public or conversations with students?
Yeah, I think we've all heard it's just a theory, and that's why I also I like to say, it's not a theory, it's a fact. Evolution's a fact. And then I explain that it's made up of many theories, some right, some wrong, many time tested that, we use every day that we can't falsify. And so that, and then if you Google evolution, actually I have an undergrad doing this for me right now. The image you get is, of course, the march of progress, which makes it look like monkeys or chimps are turning into humans, which is not the case. So those misconceptions are pretty common. I think more people understand that than they do natural selection or genetic drift. But we can sort of use that as a tool to explain those maybe slightly more complicated topics, and I like doing that. So I like to turn the knob on the misconception and turn it into some educational material.
That's fantastic. And, talking about turning that into teachable moments and educational material, you battle a lot more than just misconceptions being in Louisiana. I mean, I know they have the Louisiana Science Education Act that passed back in 2008. And so it gives teachers the opportunity to critique or present alternatives to evolution in the classroom. What experiences have you had with that? Or and also, what is it like to teach students who are coming out of that kind of environment?
Yeah, it's interesting. I sort of thought, I'm a New Yorker and I moved down here with all kinds of misconceptions of my own about what it would be like to teach in Louisiana. And I've taught evolution in Michigan and other places. And I did not find what I expected. The students are polite, they're willing to understand. I also don't tell them they have to, agree with everything I say. I want them to challenge me, and I want them to be, you know, forward with their questions about stuff, and they have been, and I love that. And they haven't been, you know, throwing things at me or, telling their preacher about me or anything like that. So it's actually been quite wonderful. I love teaching evolution in Louisiana. The students are extremely polite, and I don't think it's just LSU. Um, and maybe it's because I let them open to challenge, and I know not all of them will agree with everything I say, and that's okay. I'm really just telling them this is how we understand it as scientists. This is how we understand the evolution and origins of life on Earth, and take it or leave it. I don't want to make you uh, take away your beliefs or your own understanding, just to gain our understanding of how we comprehend the universe. And so I've had a wonderful experience teaching evolution. In fact, I teach one of the bigger versions of our class. It's a core course. That means every student in biology has to take it. So we teach 400 kids a semester evolution, us, myself and four or five other profs. And sometimes when we're down a prof, I'm like, give me more. And so I teach what I call the mega church version. So I have like a headset. I don't have a basket that I pass around, but it's like it's a fun version because it's so big. But I have fun doing it. And yeah, it's fun to teach a ton of Louisiana kids evolution, and a lot of them come in with a very good understanding of it from their prerequisites. So I'm very fortunate. Yeah.
Well, having seen you in your TED Talks, I imagine that your class is incredibly engaging. And I can say, I have a long and very complicated path that took me from, where I was to being able to understand and embrace evolution, and then now as an advocate, which I think you know about. And so I just imagine what it would have been like to have teachers and professors that approach it the way you do, from a place that opens dialogue and welcomes people to the table rather than closing doors or othering people based on their worldviews. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing with your students. So I'm going to ask you, why fish?
Why not fish? No. I grew up.
That's going to be a shirt now. Why not fish?
Why not fish? I love animals. I've always loved animals. I was privileged that my parents just said, do whatever you like, just be good at it and enjoy it. And I said I want to be a zoologist. Growing up in New York, going to the American Museum of Natural History and the Bronx Zoo, and I didn't think about fishes very much, and we say fishes for the plurality. But what happened was I was studying zoology at McGill University as an undergrad, and had the opportunity to do an RU, this NSF research experience for undergraduates, back at the American Museum of Natural History. And I worked with a wonderful curator, Melanie Stiasny, my hero, who works on fishes. She's an amazing ichthyologist. And I still want to be just like Melanie and learn as much about fishes as she does. I'll never get there, but she's been an inspiration. And, there's lots of fishes, lots more than, or about the same as all the other vertebrate groups combined. So mammals and birds and reptiles and amphibians. There's 25,000 or 30,000 of those, and about 35,000 species of fishes. And so lots of new species to describe, lots of undiscovered diversity, and I love that. And so that's why fishes, because they're cool.
That's amazing. Okay, so putting you on the spot, of all the fishes, which fish is your favorite?
It changes day to day. I do love the ones that I've got to work with, especially, and we're currently working on a cave fish, the cave angel fish from Thailand. It's Cryptotara thamiacola, and it's a waterfall climbing blind cave fish. We spent 7 hours in a cave in Thailand, in northern Thailand, looking for these things and found them.
Wow.
And they have a hip, so they have a connection between the vertebral column and the pelvic girdle, which fishes should not have, and no fish has had it since Tiktaalik. So that's on a different branch of the fish tree that gave rise to us, and this is convergent evolution, 400 million years apart. Really cool anatomy, really cool genomics. We've sequenced the genome of this species and a close relative. and it's got all kinds of neat revelations. So that's my current favorite fish.
Well, it sounds really fascinating and a lot of different things going on just in that one space. So when can we expect to see, or is it already out, the research and some documentation from that? Because I know we have a lot of members who would be really interested in learning more.
hmm Yeah, I've been speaking about a little bit of it. A lot of the biomechanic work is already published, and the anatomy work, so the CT and MRI scans, and then the functional morphology and anatomy is from Brooke Flamang's lab at Rutgers NJIT. And then we're doing the genomics, and so yeah, hopefully that'll be the genomics part will tie everything together. I've been presenting about all that work. I'm speaking about it at Evolution in July, the Evolution meetings in Montreal. Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about it there. I'm also the past president of ASH, so I get to, that's the American Society of Ichthyologists and Herpetologists. And I'm speaking about that research at my presidential address this year in Pittsburgh. So encourage people to join scientific societies, especially
Absolutely.
those two, and that's where I'll be speaking about it. But hopefully you'll see these papers in Science or Nature or some other high quality.
Yes, well, we'll definitely be keeping our eyes out and making sure we share far and wide. So, very exciting work. And speaking of your work, your book, Explaining Life Through Evolution, which everybody should read, by the way, shameless plug. Who did you write that book for and why?
Yeah, it's interesting. I wrote it for whoever may be interested in the topic, and I tried to make the title broad so that people didn't think it was just a state old science book, but something that someone might pick up at the airport, or out of curiosity, someone who's not the converted already, someone who has questions, or someone who is starting at the college level or late in high school, about the time that I learned about evolution myself, and lay it out on the line. And then also talk about, modern issues about, the spectrum of sex and gender and sexuality, all the things that we talk about these days. If everything, if nothing makes sense except for the light of evolution, those are biological traits we should talk about. And so I want to write something that my kids could read. They're 13, and they're twins, and their peers could read. And so I wrote it for people who may not otherwise pick up an evolution textbook.
Yes, and it's that approach and your desire and passion for engaging people in every space, not just people who are already sharing the same mental space or interest that we have, that really made you so desirable as a member of our board. We really value what you contribute to the field, but also just as an advocate and representative of what we want to be able to do with people in the case of engaging in this discourse. So we're really grateful that you said yes when we asked you to join the board. You probably knew I would hound you if you said no, but um, were there other factors with us that inclined you to say yes?
No, really, it was just to save time, because I knew Amanda would bug me until I said yes. No, no, that's not true. I was really uh, honored to be asked to join the board. I thought it would be a good time for me to do some work like this, to think about sort of at the national level, not just in Louisiana or this part of the country, how we can expand our people's understanding of science in many facets. And next year's the anniversary of the 100th anniversary of the Scopes trial. I thought this would be good timing for that. And so just tapping into how people, not just evolution expertise, but how people are using it um, to spread the knowledge about why it's important to learn about evolution at a time when maybe it may come under attack again.
Well, we are so very thankful that you said yes, and we're so happy to have you as a guiding part of this organization. Thank you for being here today, for giving us time to tell us a little bit more about you. I will say we're going to share links and other information to your work so that people can get to know you better as you continue your journey with us here at NCSC. But thank you again, and we hope you have a wonderful end of the semester. And it sounds like you've got a very productive and busy summer ahead as well. So.
Thanks for having me. This has been great.